right, we back at it. Homegrown Radio, Chuck Dizzle, DJ Head, live from the Fab Factory Studios.
Shout out to Fab Factory Studios. We got our brother in here.
Man,
Reason season, man. Porsche is out right now.
Season.
Man, it's a lot of Carson shit right now.
Reason been moving around. And real quick for the folks that's looking right here on camera, and even when you listening to us, man, I got to be a great father today. My son starts school, so I might have to walk out. If I do, don't be alarmed. You'll just see DJ Head's face.
Yeah,
you know
family first.
Family first, man.
Family first.
And that's why you hear Reason, man. Porsche's out right now. You've been moving. We were talking off camera, man. Like
I'm just so blown at how you've been moving. Like you've been everywhere. Like, and I'm glad to see it because you don't see that from a lot of artists who quote unquote go to another level. You don't see people making the rounds like that. And so I was like, damn, I was glad to see you with Desi G. I was glad to see you with different people I don't normally see people with.
Yeah. For me, it was like it was done purposely. Like I'm big on, me and Chuck actually had this conversation about a week or two ago, but I'm big on like trying to give the West Coast media all the looks that I can possibly give, because of course we got to go do the New York thing, but it's like we got to also start building staples here. So it's funny because me and Desi been talking about doing that shit for maybe like a year now, and I kept telling him like, yo, we got to wait for the right time. And I could tell that he started getting like man, this nigga not doing this.
You know what I'm saying?
So I told him, I was like, you're going to be the first freestyle stop that I do. Like, I'm going to make sure that that's the first one out the gate that I do. And that shit came out dope. It came out super dope.
Sure.
Yeah.
So super dope.
Yeah.
You know me, I'm always tell you, I actually really appreciated the album because I feel like it was very honest and purpose.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was extreme. It was way more honest than I ever gave you credit for.
Yeah.
Like on previous projects, it was like, I'm dope.
Yeah.
I get it. Mm-hmm. This one was like real mirror reflection. Like
vulnerable. Vulnerable.
It was vulnerable.
Yeah.
And I was just like, damn, okay. Honestly didn't know you had it in you to no, that's not true. I knew you had it in you, but I didn't think that you would do it this soon.
Yeah. Give that, because that one's usually saved from when you get to that apex of where you at, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. But I always been that way with the music. Like I started doing the music for therapeutical reasons. So, bro, it's crazy because this album is super personal, super vulnerable, but it's joints that I cut that was like even way more like, I don't know.
That's not on the project.
That's not on the project. I don't know if y'all saw the live performance I did with Rory, but there's an unreleased joint on there that was hell, like so personal that I was nervous. Like, and I was like, man, I don't even know if I want to even give niggas this much of my life. You get what I'm saying? But that's what I started doing music for. So whenever I ask myself if I want to be that person, I always tell myself like, you know, this is what you started doing it for, is to A, make you feel better, but then B, give it to other people. And if they went through something similar, then they, you know what I mean, can kind of get that off also and be like, oh, this is the soundtrack of what I'm going through right now. And, you know, he got through it, so it shows me that I'm not alone in this shit. Yeah.
Is there a reason why? Is it more or less about I just don't like people knowing my life like that? Or is it like specific events that took place? I didn't get a chance to see it, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it a life event that happened, or is it more or less, man, I just don't want to peel back that layer just yet?
It'd be a combination of both. It'd be like, I don't want to peel back that, and then it also is like, you know, these stories are also about close people in my life. So people that, like, let's say, like, you know, I got a bunch of people that know who I am, but like, let's say in my inner bubble of who Rob is, it might be 700 people that know me on a personal level. All 700 of them know Dante. All 700 of them know Ali. All 700. So it's like, if you put that out there, all 700 people, like, yeah, I'm good because I've accepted the fact that I'm putting my shit out there. But is Ali good with 700 people knowing that this shit happened? You get what I'm saying? Is Dante good with is my pops good
Your
with
brother?
Is my brother good with 700 people?
Your
And that's
cousin?
kind of my cousin, you know what I mean? Learn that lesson. And so that's what I had to start understanding. Is like, it ain't about you. It's about, like, I'm used to being publicly praised and scrutinized. You get what I'm saying? Like, people gonna feel away in a good way, and people gonna feel away in a bad way. I'm getting used to that more and more as the shit go on. You get what I'm saying? But they didn't sign up for that. So that's kind of where the hesitancy on a lot of shit, you know what I mean?
But you know,
my bad. No, I was gonna ask about those conversations though, because that's again, that's super honest. I honestly didn't think about it from that perspective of like, yeah, we know what we sign up for when we in this public space. When the cameras are on, the mics are on, we know what we're doing, but you are affecting other people. So when those conversations are brought up to you, is it more or less was there resistance with those first conversations? Like, man, you know who I am and what I do. Like, why are you tripping? Or did you have to kind of humble yourself and be like, God damn, okay, I understand.
I had to humble myself. I had to step outside of my ego. My ego was telling me like just to be completely honest, like nigga, you know who I am. Like, you my friend, and if I want to talk about something, like, I'm reason I can talk about it. Like, you got a friend in reason. Y'all niggas come to the free shows and do this and do that. Like, you telling me I can't, like, that was my ego. You get what I'm saying? But I had to understand that, like, you know, they signed up to be my friend as just a regular person a long time before this. You know what I mean? Like, and
they fuck with Rob.
Yeah, exactly. They fuck with Rob. You know what I mean? So it's like, nah, they didn't sign up for that shit. So it's like, and sometimes I even ask people if they cool with me talking about something. They say yes, and I'll double back before it come out and be like, hey.
It's hitting the platforms at 9.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, hey.
East
like,
Coast time, West Coast
I'm
time.
about to put this video out. Like, you know what I mean?
On title in the morning.
Yeah, you get what I'm saying? Like, my boy Dante, and I know he don't care about me talking about this, but I had put up like a video previewing the song, and I'm talking about Dante's situation with the mother of his child and how that affects Dante and his life and his current girlfriend. And I asked Dante, I was like, yo, you cool with me putting this video up? He was like, yeah, bet. And then I posted the video up, and he was like, I should have rethought that answer. He was like,
ain't no way you can take that
yeah,
damn.
I
know
it's
it's gonna go viral.
He was like, you know, like he was like, it's all good because I said yes, it is what it is. But he was like, you know, it definitely caused a little bit of friction. You know what I mean? But I think that they're learning along with me. You know what I mean? Like they be on the front lines with me with everything, and they're learning all of this shit along too. They're learning that they can't respond to everything online because they're my family. So it's like they ready to go. Yeah. If anything is said about it, not they've had to take this journey with me and be like, you know, like we also have to kind of step back away from certain shit. Can't talk about certain shit publicly. So you know, it all comes down.
I think I'm gonna give you my perspective.
Yeah.
And I wanted to talk to you like off air, but he was like, no, let's
rock.
So my perspective on everything, right? As far as it's going on with you. So when the album was announced, I'm like, okay, cool. Album coming out. I know you have been working on it for a long time.
Yep.
Because we have been in the studio and you had played me like a couple of joints or whatnot.
Yeah, you had heard like maybe 5 or 6 of the joints already. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, it's coming out, whatever. And then as the rollout is happening, I mean, as you're starting to like, all right, I'm coming. I'm like, all right, cool. Then I start seeing like all this other shit going on. What I didn't expect was the stuff that you would definitely. It's almost like, remember how Pac and Biggie would forecast their demise on their records?
Yeah.
It was like as the drama was happening with you on the internet, I start hearing it on the album, and I'm like, oh, well, you spoke this into existence. This stupid ass nigga. Like, I was like, I'm listening to so
that's real though. That's real.
So I'm gonna go through it, right? So I'm listening to gang shit.
Yep.
And as I'm listening to gang shit, you talking about like who's the next Kendrick, and you know, you like, I don't give a fuck, I'm me, like you know, like, and you got to deal with all this pressure and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then as all of the drama is going down, I'm like, as I'm listening to the album, after
all the shit,
after the drama, exactly. I'm like, bro, this is like a weather forecast at this point. Like this
is Saturday. You just said what's going on Saturday.
Like you jumped in the DeLorean almost.
And
made it. So what's your perspective on like how involved? I mean, how much do you involve like TDE when you're recording the album? Because I already know the process. I've been around forever. So I know the process. You let them hear records, you play it for them, whatever. But they done heard these records.
Yeah, they heard them. Yeah.
So. But what I guess from your perspective, it's like, since I already put it in the record, you heard the record, like, is it cool for me? It's cool for me to talk about this shit, or not?
Yeah, and so, okay, so a few things. So, Windows Cry on my last album, to me, that's the only time that I forecasted things happening, because I talked about, you know, the fact that, you know, this is Top Son, there is this conflict of interest, this could happen, that could happen. Dave is running this shit. You trying to be as big as Dot. That's Dot best friend. Like, that's just me being. I'm a very observant, perspective-based nigga. You get what I'm saying? So that's just me doing that. All the other stuff, it wasn't really, in my opinion, forecast because I was living through it when I was talking about it.
Gotcha.
Y'all just didn't see it. You get what I'm saying? So I wasn't really forecasting it. I was more just talking about how I was feeling in those moments. Like I can't help it when I write music. That's all I talk about. You know what I mean? That was actually like a struggle for me at one point. Like there was like a 4-month span where it was hard for me to write records because I was in such an unhappy place that I'm like, that's the only thing that I can talk about. And if I talk about it, it's not gonna go well. You get what I'm saying? So it was hard for me to write records because I'm like, if I talk about this stuff, it's gonna be perceived a certain way and it's gonna rub certain people wrong. But at the same time, I can't fake it. I don't know how to go to the studio and just rap about shit that's not actually happening. You know what I'm saying? I'm the same nigga that started smoking so I could rap about it. Like I didn't smoke before. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, I want to rap about weed, so I gotta smoke a little bit of weed. I don't smoke all the time, but I'm like, I smoke enough to where I can my authenticity can't let me write it. If I'm being dead, I can't write it. If
you talking to that started smoking.
I'm being dead. I know it sounds crazy,
so you
but
can rap about it?
So I can rap about it. I had weed lines, but I felt nasty putting them on record. I felt nasty. Like I feel nasty talking about shit that's not true or bragging about something in a way that's not like I can't write smoking on gas and I don't smoke. That's crazy to me. I don't know how niggas do that. So for me, it was like I was writing about those things in real time. So I know a lot of people kind of look at it like it was forecasted because they didn't know that those things was going on. But for me, that was it. And then it's funny because when we just talked about when you speak to people close to you about the records, I always ask them, are y'all good with me putting this out? And I think same thing. I think that while I'm growing, I think that they're growing. I think that sometimes they'll say that they good with it and then they get out there and then they like, we wasn't good. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's not a knock on them. That's just, we humans and we learning. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that, there was learning lessons in that. Like, I think if there was a situation where I came back and was like, yo, are you good with that? I think niggas would be like, nah. Like,
nah.
No. You know what I'm saying?
We have a conversation.
And I also think that on my end, I would approach these songs and situations differently also because I'm growing and learning also.
So let me tell you. So there's multiple layers to this. When everything was going down, I didn't call you purposely.
Yeah. I actually expected to get a call from you. Yeah.
I didn't call you purposely.
I got a call from Glasses. So.
I know you did.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Because you set the group chats on fire.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
All the group chats were on fire.
All of mine too.
All of them. I'm talking every group chat I got. Every group chat I got. It's all of them on fire, right? There's a whole inferno going in my and they're like, you need to talk. Ain't that your boy?
Yeah,
you need to talk to him. I'm like, listen, bro. I'm gonna tell you the truth.
Yep.
Because it's the same thing I told them.
Yep.
I said, I haven't talked to Reason in a long time because, and I want to get into Rich Mirages.
Okay.
But I haven't talked to Reason in a long time. I said, Reason is very arrogant. He's very, thinks he knows everything. And I was like, I'm just going to I'm not going to insert myself in none of this, right? So what I did say, when I said to them, I'm like, there's multiple layers that y'all don't understand. There's nuance to the conversations, right? I said, Reason has continuously said little things here and there, right? Where it might have been true, it might have been how he felt, but he said little things. But then you also have situations where you know the situation, like you know what you're getting yourself into when you do it. Like me and him talk about like artists who's when they sign the labels and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like like people who take pub deals. If I give you a publishing deal and I give you $500,000 for your publishing, you can't then spend the money and then be like, man,
where my money?
Where my money at? Like, bro, you signed the deal, so you understand. So then you also know, and then like also them is my niggas. Like I known these dudes 20 years.
Yeah.
It be some nigga shit going on at times, but then also it's music business going on. So at the same time, I'm looking at it like I didn't call you because I'm like, that had nothing to do with me. And I didn't want to discuss it because it didn't serve any reason. I didn't have anything fruitful to offer, right?
Yeah.
But what I did notice is that I'm listening to the album and I'm like, you had already preempted and taken responsibility for all of these things. And that's something that I told them.
Yeah.
I told Chuck and everybody else, I'm like, Reason is not dumb. I said low key, on the low, Reason is one of the smartest people doing this. Like he's college, he's educated, he's not a dumb motherfucker, right?
Yeah.
You and Soul probably one of the two smartest rappers on the west, I don't know, in the game maybe at this point, right?
I agree. Yeah.
So I'm like, Reason is too smart to get himself into these situations and not understand what comes with it. But you don't. You understand fully what comes with these situations, which goes into Rich Mirages, where you almost own every aspect of yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
And I thought that was so dope.
Yeah.
Because I was like, that's what I was looking for. I was looking for that moment, and it didn't play out on the internet, but it played
out in the music.
It played out in the music,
yeah,
which I respect because that's what Dot does. That's what Hove does. You don't never hear Hove address anything. It's always on the album.
Exactly.
And so I just respected that component of it. But I think that's what people are missing from Reason.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree. It's that's what Rich Mirages was. It was we called it Mirages because it's like a reflection. You know what I'm saying? But it's a reflection of something that's actually not there. So to me, that's what ego is. Ego is when you tell yourself or put things in your head that aren't really true. Reason is the greatest rapper of all time. It's not really true. You get what I'm saying? Like, but it's like it's a reflection of how you see yourself or how you see yourself, but it's not actually true. You get what I'm saying? So that's why we named it Rich Mirages, and that's what it is. I feel like I'm a very accountable person. You know what I mean?
100%.
I've always known like me and Musa and a bunch of niggas from the label. It's not always. It sucks because it's like Musa's name gets thrown in the front of all of this shit, and there's so many layers to it. Like you said, you get what I'm saying? But we've had so many conversations where I've been accountable and been like, like, okay, you know that I shouldn't have said that. Like I was kind of wilding. You get what I'm saying? Or this that shouldn't have happened. You know what I mean? Whatever the case may be. For me, it's like you said. It's I knew everything this time around. I knew what I was getting myself into. I knew what I was getting myself into. Speaking my truth, I knew all of the things that could potentially come with it. I didn't know it was going to be as big as it got, but I knew all the things that could potentially come with it. And for me, it was just like, I'm like, what am I gonna do? Like, get out there and like tell a lie, like based off of what I've been through, like that. I'm not gonna be able to like sleep at night. I'm not gonna be able to be in my own space and be mentally healthy with myself if a nigga asks me a direct question and I gotta lie about it to save face. It's like, nah, this is life, bro. Everybody isn't always going to agree with how things are done. Everybody's not gonna always agree with the path that niggas should take. You know what I mean? And I think that they have their valid points. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna even say they. We have our valid points. You know what I'm saying? Because we all on the same team. It's just about how that's delivered. You know what I mean? But I still stand on everything that I've always believed in this shit. Like I feel like the music industry and the way that it is, which is similar to what me and Glasses was talking about. I'm like I hear you, but I don't hear you because I feel like there's a way that things can be done to where I think that it's a broken system. And I'm not even talking about TDE. I'm just talking about in general. I think it's a broken system. And me and my homies, we laugh about it because we like the industry is lazy. It's so broken and niggas won't even attempt to fix it. Yeah. Like everything that's going on with the strikers, with the strike, with the Writers Guild.
We were just talking about
that shit been happening in music.
Yeah, facts.
Nobody says shit.
I just said that.
Nobody says shit. So you get what I'm saying? So like it's been happening in music. So you telling me that like, am I wrong for speaking up on some shit that's been broken just because nobody else will say it's broke? Like, nah. I'm gonna be the nigga to say it's broken. Like, and if you feel a way about me for saying that, then nigga, you can feel a way about me for saying that. You get what I'm saying? But it's like this industry has been broken. They got the AI shit going on. Everybody's too lazy to make laws to figure out how to control that. That shit is gonna run wild. And nobody's gonna say anything. Right. Everybody's just gonna sit there and be like, damn, that's crazy. Oh, AI song just got submitted for a Grammy.
We just talked about that.
You get what I'm saying? Like, and nobody's gonna do anything. I'm telling you right now, nobody's gonna do anything. Everybody's just going to sit there and allow the shit to be broken. You get what I'm saying? And that's just never been how I was put together. I don't know how to do that.
Do you think that, okay, so I agree with you because we were just talking about how the song got now or is eligible. It's eligible and whatnot. But when you look at it, like, what's the difference? I literally made the same comparable to the strike. The strike, right? And music is probably the last thing that ever gets affected by change in any industry. Yeah. Mainly hip hop music, right? We get the trickle down effect of Taylor Swift had to go do some whole wild shit for people to even know what's going on in streaming. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Taylor Swift like, take everything down. Take all my shit off.
All of my shit off.
Take everything down.
Yeah, take everything down. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and then everybody, and then now the white people like, wait, what's going on?
Yeah, bro. And like, I fuck with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, for dead ass. Yeah.
So I agree with you, but I also think that the system is broken. It's been broken.
Been broken.
But it's founded upon a foundation that was broken. So it's like you can't really fix something on broken foundation. You damn near it's a rebuild at this point. It's a tear down rebuild.
Yeah.
I'm talking about from the ground up, right? In a complete industry standpoint, executives, artists, production, labels, everything, right? So where do you start? Where do you start that process?
I think you started in I think you started legitimately in like what is a label. Like I think that the term label has a negative connotation.
Correct.
It's almost like saying something is mid. Mid just means average, but average now has if you tell a woman she looks average, she thinks you're calling her ugly. Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it has a negative connotation on it. So I think that you start with what is a label and you look at all the things that, and just for the listeners out there, we're not talking about TDE now. We're talking about the entire thing.
Industry, yeah.
So you start with the relationship between artist and label and distributor. You get what I'm saying? There's like normal things that are like predatory in the music industry that I don't understand because niggas can still get rich and make money without this. You get what I'm saying? So like, for example, like if you have an artist that doesn't want to be on a label no more, they don't think that they're getting the proper looks or push, whatever the case may be. How does it value the label or the artist to keep that artist there? So like, even if you're in the red as a business, even if you're in the red, how do you get out of the red by keeping that artist there? Because you can't put out another project because you got to spend money and you'll probably go deeper in the red. You get what I'm saying? Like you'll probably go deeper in the red. So how does it value you to keep that artist there? So I don't even think like artists that are stuck in contracts, to me, that don't even make business sense. Like I went to school for business. That don't make business sense. If I have a building that I started a restaurant in and my building is not making money it's not making money as a restaurant, how does it value me to keep the building?
Right.
Like, no, I'm going to try to sublease the building or, do something in order to get it off. And yes, I might take a loss, but I'm not going to keep that's ego and pride. Like that doesn't make sense. So that's just one example of like a bunch of things in the industry that doesn't make sense, but it's driven off of pride and ego. It's driven off of everybody thinking that they are the more important piece. Artists think they're the most important piece because they make the music. Labels think they're the most important piece because they foot the bill. Distribution companies think they're the most important piece because they're the ones that get the music out there when it's not a true partnership. To me, it should be a true partnership and what's beneficial for everybody. I think if you start there, then that builds a community of people actually caring about one another, which is probably naive of me to say because niggas don't really give a fuck about each other. But it builds a community of people actually caring about each other. And now when people actually care about each other, now we can start to move as a unit to tackle other issues. You know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah, Taylor took all her shit down. But what happened if Taylor, Drake, Kendrick, Cole, whoever the top 10 of them all took their shit down simultaneously and be like, yo, we not putting our shit back up until the amount that you get paid per stream changes. They would have no choice but to do it. Or let's take it even further. What happened if all 10 of them, Ye did this, niggas thought he was crazy. What happened if all 10 of them, if Ye started a different streaming company and then all 10 of them went to that streaming company?
That's what Tidal was supposed to be.
That's what it was supposed to be, but nobody got behind it. You get what I'm saying? Like the artists didn't really big it the way that they should have. You get what I'm saying? Like, so, but I think that it starts with community. Like you can't expect, it's like the NFL. You can't expect niggas to care about each other when everything is so separated and for self. You get what I'm saying? That's why the NBA gets what they deserve and the NFL, these niggas will give up their rights to smoke weed. You get what I'm saying? It don't make no sense. But then the NBA will band together and be like, oh, nah, that owner racist, ain't none of us playing until you take that owner team away. We're not, like, they didn't come here for the owners. They came here for the athletes. You know what I mean? So I think it takes a certain level of community and togetherness. Do I think it's realistic? Maybe not in our lifetime. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it don't mean that you can't start somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, and that's kind of how I feel about it. It's like niggas got to start somewhere.
But that also comes with sacrifice, and a lot of people aren't willing to sacrifice.
A lot of people aren't willing to sacrifice. But it's that thought is crazy to me because it's like you literally are sacrificing. You just don't view it as a sacrifice because you living in it. So it's like if you live in, let's say you live in a broken down community and you like, damn, if I want to get out of this community, like I got to save my money, which means I can't go out, I can't drink, I can't do this, I can't do this. I got to save my money to get out of there. Nah, I don't want to make that sacrifice. Nigga, you sacrificing every day when you live in this motherfucker. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that don't make sense. Like, that's what a lot of this shit don't make sense to me. And I think that's where I get in trouble is because when it don't make sense, I speak on the fact that it don't make sense to me.
What would you be willing to sacrifice for a change in the industry?
I'll be willing to sacrifice everything.
Would you be willing to not make money off of music?
Yeah.
In order to change the ecosystem?
Yeah, I would go get a job. I have one.
Would you be willing to, what do you mean?
like I had a job before I signed. I was making $90,000 a year. You get what I'm saying? Like I can go get a job and put on a suit and recruit niggas, or engineer or whatever, or go and get a IT certification that takes 6 months to get and start right out at $85,000 a year. Like I would do that. Like I have plans of starting my own label and doing things differently.
What's your label gonna be called?
I don't want to talk about it yet because we literally trying to still figure it all out and whatnot.
Okay, that's a lot, but I do want to say, the other part that I was talking about when it comes to you is you being so authentic, and I think that that's jarring to people because I've noticed that I haven't been PC, but I definitely have toned it down a lot because I fully understand, like, people don't accept that.
They don't rock with it.
They don't rock with it because even like I agree with you on a lot of stuff you say. Yeah. But then you'll say something on Twitter, I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see how this gonna go. I'm not hold my beer. It's like, let me see how this gonna go. This ain't gonna go how he think it's gonna go.
Nah, for sure.
When you are expressing yourself, and you're definitely expressive, but when you're expressing yourself, do you think about the positive or the negative of those, or both, or do you consider them, or you not at all?
I always think about the consequence and then ask myself, can I live with the consequence?
Before you do it?
Before I do it. Like, I won't say always because I hate saying always, but 95% of the time I think about the consequence. And the other 5%, it's when I'm drinking and I'm not thinking about the consequence because I'm drinking. Which we'll get into that. But yeah,
I'm glad you brought that
5%,
up.
like it's when I'm drinking, and when I'm drinking, I'm now talking to the homies, and the entire world is the homies, and I can't talk to the entire world like they the homies. Like
handle that pressure. I drink too much.
Yeah.
Too much is something that, and me and him, I mean, he can get into his stuff, but
we talked about it,
bro. Y'all talked about it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Which I appreciate. I appreciate that conversation a lot. Yeah.
Because I said that this other part, transparency, this other part that I told him, because I recognized it, because me and him went through that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, he has a drinking problem. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like you have a drinking problem, or have you had a drinking problem?
Yes, I feel like I have a drinking problem, and I feel like the issue with my drinking problem is that I'm a really good drunk, and so it gets me in trouble because it makes me feel like I can put myself in spaces that I shouldn't be drunk in. I'm like, I probably shouldn't drink here, but like I can handle myself, so I'm gonna drink anyway.
So is that a thing? Because I mean, I don't know, but is that something like that you think about? Like, oh, I'm good.
Yeah, I mean that's literally what it is.
That's literally what you think.
I'm
like,
good.
I'm straight.
I'm
straight, bro. This shit don't bother me.
The moment it was funny because around that time that we kind of had those conversations of it being serious is right around the time that my tolerance started to change. Before I was that good drunk too. I was I wasn't a belligerent drunk. I was a happy drunk. Yeah. So I was cool.
Same.
I can contain
I don't start
myself.
gang banging when I'm drunk.
I don't do none of that. Like
I know some niggas that automatically become from a hood as soon as they get drunk. Like I don't do that. I don't get weird with women when I'm drunk. I don't do none of that. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. No, those are some weird activities, right? Yeah. When certain people drink. But if anything, for me, it's just more. I'm more happy, more positive, right? Mm-hmm. And the one thing that was really dangerous for me is the fact that I felt like I needed it in settings like this. It was like, I had to have, this isn't alcohol, by the way, but I needed this to kind of loosen up, have a conversation. Like, and I'm a social person, but for me, it just, I needed stuff like this to kind of keep it going. So yeah, it was one of those mental things. Like, I'm straight. I'm not hanging over. As a matter of fact, when you told me, for full transparency for the people that didn't know, when you told me that night we were on air, you were like, yo, you were slurring over your words. I thought that sounded not, because I'm like, nigga,
he came to
we've drank many times at the apartment, Market Street, even while I was on air sometimes. And I'm like, man, you know this about me, and I'm good. He was like, bro, no, this time for sure.
I was so mad that night because he came to work and we was on the radio. Yeah. And he was drunk.
Live.
Yeah. Like live hot mics, live, right? We're live, ain't pre-recorded.
But I'm
good.
I'm good,
bro.
He's done it before.
That's my famous
while
two words.
While I'm DJing, he turning the mic on, rapping over the words on the radio.
I'm providing the vibe for the night.
No, you're not.
I'm good.
I'm at a concert.
So listen,
you are not performing.
Listen, so just to kind of go back in my head, that I'm good. I'm having a good time. What we do is entertainment. This is media. This is radio. I dreamed about doing this since I was little. So it's like I dreamed of moments like this.
That's real.
So
That's
I'm
real.
having a good time. So when you said that, and when you say that, yo, I'm good. I'm a good drunk. And even at the night of the first release party, I couldn't tell. And even when you were saying, you were like, yo, I'm loaded right now. I'm having a good time. I'm like, oh, this is cool. Like straight.
Yeah.
But I can also see in that moment,
it
I'm
can
like,
go a different way.
It can go a different
It can
way.
go a different
so,
way.
you know, the fact that you're recognizing it, it's not no intervention or anything like that, but the fact that you're recognizing that fact and taking ownership on it and saying, okay, even off the mic, you're like, yeah, I got to cut that shit out a little bit.
Yeah.
It's commendable because you don't want to get to the point where I did, where there's certain life activities that started happening after that. You know what I'm saying? I got a DUI. That shit ain't sweet.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that's happened as a result to me drinking, thinking I was good. And I know people that are no longer here because they felt like, oh yeah, I'm straight, I'll be good. And not as many people were as lucky as I am.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the fact that you recognize it, and again, your tolerance is gonna change, your body's gonna start telling you look different things. And as you get older, you realize like, oh fuck, okay, I gotta switch things up. And you can either listen to it or not. You know what I'm saying? So
do you think that, I mean, do you, I don't know, but I never had, I mean, I don't know what the conversation y'all had, but I think energetically something changed too.
Yeah.
Because even with him, after I had the conversation with him about it, I felt like something like, it's kind of like, it's foggy. I don't know how to describe it from his vantage point. From my vantage point, when I saw him, it was crazy. Like his life was in shambles at the time, right? So it's foggy, and then I feel like the sky kind of clear up a little bit, and then you can kind of see, oh, this is the path to get where I'm trying to go.
Right. Exactly.
And then it becomes a lot more clear as you go through the process. That's what I noticed. From that.
And then what was wild about that, I think for me, literally months after I stopped.
For people that don't know, Chuck he's clean.
Yeah, Chuck is sober.
Yeah, I'm sober. I haven't drinking. It's gonna be 7 years this year. The moment I kind of like stopped. A couple of months later, I forgot whatever the case may be. It was within a year. I found out Tasha was pregnant. So it was like it gave me a whole
different.
I was like, oh yeah, I'm not looking back on that shit now.
Yeah. Like I'm all the way locked in.
I'm all the way locked in at this point. I now have another reason on top of the other things that made me stop, but I have another reason to kind of like continue this. And I feel like that's, as you're going through this, you're gonna realize like there's different blessings that's gonna come from it. You're like, oh damn, this thing that I was trying to go for, or certain opportunities to open up, it's gonna be like, I feel like you may be in the cloudy moment right now, but you're still figuring shit out, and there's gonna be other things that open up and unlock after this. And you're like, oh damn, I didn't realize that this was gonna happen as a result of me stopping that.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It's about that sacrifice, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes when you sacrifice shit, other things open up. You just don't really recognize it or see it until it actually happens. So.
Because I remember he told me that he didn't see it as an issue till I said something.
Yeah,
and I was serious about it.
I knew it was something, but when other people, so it's the realest shit right here. You've tolerated it for so long, where I was just like, oh, it's cool. This is cool. It's another day. Like Tasha been telling me, other people been kind of mentioning it, but you as one of the homies kind of coming to me, because like we don't really have those type of conversations where it was like,
well, I showed him to his house.
He was like, literally pulled up.
I just pulled up,
but then at the end
that's
of it,
a real friend though.
Yeah, at the end of it, he was just like, look, I can't protect you no more, bro. Like I'm not saying that I will, but if something were to come up, bro, I can't. Yeah. I have to separate myself from you, because now you fucking up what I got going on. Yeah. From that point, it was like, oh, I got to take accountability.
I got to take accountability.
So, and it's an internal look at that point.
But I felt like on the song Too Much, you owned it. Yeah. And that's what I thought was dope. Yeah. Like, because it's like, oh, you know, it's the hook. Yeah, exactly. So like, it's the hook on the record. So I'm like, okay, it's something that Rob is already processing in his brain. Has anybody had that conversation with you, like your family or other rappers?
1000%. Not other rappers, but I've had it with damn near my girl, the homies. Like they've all kind of like had that convo with me, and it's not so much like go sober, but it's more so slow way down. You get what I'm saying? Like my issue was that, similar to what you said, is that I attached, and still doing certain circumstances, attached drinking to identity. Not even identity, good but time. Also action in whatever I'm doing. So I was at a point, like, I remember this is probably like around the time I was like 27. I couldn't even fuck with a chick without drinking. Like if I talk to a girl and she didn't drink, then I'm not hanging out with you. Because like, why do I want to be hanging out with you in an intimate setting.
But
and
isn't that part of your identity?
I can't drink. No, that's what I'm saying. But I'm saying not only identity, because it was also like the actions in which I do. So it kind of tied into two. I used to not be able to eat salmon without a glass of tequila.
Oh, wow. Really?
Because when I would eat salmon, I could taste tequila. I'm being dead ass. Like, and it used to be like, yo, like if I have a bite of salmon, like I just automatically want a reposado on the rocks. Like I automatically want that.
That's
if I'm in a
crazy.
social setting, I need to have a drink because I don't even know what to do with my hands. So like, what do I do with my hands if I don't got a cup? Like I have to have a cup.
That's what
you know what I'm
that's-
saying?
No, I literally got that's where the ginger ale came from. The ginger ale and the
and
soda.
I had to start making little switches like that. Like, okay, bet when I go out, if I don't want to drink tonight, like get some type of soda on the rocks or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? Or pay the bartender for a drink, but like whatever a shot is, only pour half or something like that. If I'm having a weak moment where I can't just say no all the way, but like don't give me a full shot, give me half of a shot within, and then still getting a mixer that way it can, fill all the way up. And it's still stuff that I'm still like I said, I'm still currently battling it. But for me, I've always been taught and raised that you cannot fix anything if you don't say that it's an issue.
Address
and that's
it.
why I've never had a problem being like, yo, I have a drink. It's funny because it's like it's so weird for other people that if I say it, they'll be like, whoa. Like when I was on the Joe Budden podcast, I was like, yeah, I got a drinking. They was like, whoa, calm down. Like I'm like, nah. Like nigga, I have a drinking problem.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like, and if I allow people to make me feel uncomfortable saying it, then I'm just gonna hide it.
Yeah.
And then if I'm like I'm not gonna stop drinking if I'm hiding it. I'm gonna just be drinking in private or hiding it. You know what I mean? And so that was the first thing I had to do was unattach drinking to the things that I do in everyday life. You know what I mean?
fire.
Because it was so, I started realizing, because I was talking to the homie Jay, and he was like, how many times you drink a week? And I'm like, shit, like 4 or 5. He's like, nigga, that's way too much.
That's like alcoholic.
Exactly. And I was like, well, I fucked with a bitch on Tuesday, so I drank then. And then I went to a mixer event on Thursday, so I drank then. And then Friday we went out, so I drank. And then, Saturday we was watching the game, so I can't. That's literally how I rationalized it. Like, so the things that I'm doing on an everyday program on a week, I'm like, okay, well, I don't need to have a drink to watch a game.
Yeah.
I don't need to have a drink to fuck with a girl. I don't need to have it. And that was what kind of started to cut it down. You get what I'm saying? And it's like I said, it's still a battle that I go through literally day in and day out. But it was life changes. It was losing people to drunk driving. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. It was seeing the effects that it has on other people around me that started making me. And it was just like you said, my body. Like my body wasn't bouncing back the way that it used to. So it's like I would drink and be down like bad, like bad for
the
like
day.
for a whole day or two. And a whole day is a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Got
it's a
shit to
lot.
do.
Bro, I got shit to do. And your energy be sluggish. Like you're not really all the way there. You got to sleep multiple times throughout the day to even bounce back because that's what your body needs to recover. Like, and so that's when I started realizing, okay, I can't do this, can't do that, and I got to start cutting back. And I'm still working on cutting back. Like I'm not healed from that. I'm still working on that. You know what I mean? But I got to be able to talk about it.
This is super random, but because just by talking to you and kind of seeing you make your runs and just knowing you as a person, you seem like you would be a great father, right? Do you think about fatherhood?
All the time, yeah.
What type of dad do you think you would be?
I think I would be a great dad because like stuff like that is I'm super competitive, A, and then B, stuff like that to me is like the world. Like I feel like that becomes your purpose in life. You know what I mean? And I've always been a 100% in type of person. Like if it's something that I really care about, I'll always be. I know I'll be a great dad just by how I think about being a dad. Like when I see certain shit happen, I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna put my kids on this. I'm gonna teach my kids about credit when they,
Early on.
8 years old and how to, you know what I mean, do money management and shit like that, like super early on, and how to, avoid taxes in a legal way, and all these. I always think about all of that shit, even when I'm talking about where I'm at music in my career. Like a lot of that is because of family. I'm like, how do I feed my family if I'm not in a space to where I'm making a certain amount of money, and I can't make a certain amount of money if I don't put out a certain level and amount of product to be able to do certain things. So even that conversation is fueled by family. You get what I'm saying? Like it's fueled by like, I'm never the person, and this is where a lot of my anxiety comes from. I hate it sometimes. I don't know how niggas like live in the day, in the now. Like, I'm always thinking about, like, in my mind, I'm 47, bro. Like, not even like that's, I'm serious. That's how
I feel you.
That's how I think about my money.
Me
That's
too.
how I think about where I'm at in life. That's how I
too.
think about property. That's how I think. I'm 47 years old. So to me, I'm like, nigga, I'm behind. Like, cause I'm 47 years old. You know what I mean? Like, I need to be where I would be comfortable there, like right now. That's the pressure I put on myself. You know what I mean? And so it's
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I do the same thing because I'll find myself this morning.
Yeah.
This morning I'm laying in bed and I got the album on too because I'm listening. I just want to go through it again. I'm listening to it and I'm literally checking my account. I'm like, okay, I can go 2 months. Like,
Bro, I'm always if everything shut off right now.
Right.
How long can I walk this motherfucker without having to do some other shit that I don't want to do? You know
I
what
was
I'm saying?
literally
Like,
thinking to myself, I'm like, all right, I got 2.5 months before I got to call Roddy and ask him for a favor. You know what I'm saying? Like,
You know the compound.
You know what I'm saying?
I can
Like,
ask them. I can ask
okay.
them.
And then I'm even adding them. Okay, so I can ask YG for 10. I can ask.
I know he'll look out of here. You know what I mean?
All
Yeah.
right, YG give me 10.
Yeah.
Aaliyah give me 10.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
Yeah,
that's
bro,
what
I
I'm really
can't-
doing in my brain,
I
right?
can't
So I
help
wanted
it,
to
bro.
ask, how
Like,
much would you really be willing to give her head, man? How much would you be willing to give him?
if I had it, if I this gonna sound like a PC answer, but I'm being real. I make my decisions based off of, I would give head. Pause. That was crazy.
Wow.
I would,
That's the clip right there.
I would give him whatever he needed that wouldn't set me back. So like if I had 50, like I'm not even lying. If I had 50 to give him where it wouldn't set me back, I'd give him 50. Like that's how I am with people I fuck with. Like
I think,
yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be calling.
Like three of those dinners, like, all right, cool. Good.
Something else I wanted to ask you about. I know Trey got to go.
Well, I did. I'm sorry. I wanted to ask that because
Go ahead.
do you implement that? Do you what advice from your pops? If he's still here with us,
Yeah, he is.
All right.
Yep.
So what advice have you gotten from him, or some life lessons that you implement in your life today based off of shit that you've seen from him? I remember talking to Nip. He was like, "Man, there's nothing my dad told me. I just saw an example, right?"
Yeah.
So from you and your father, what advice did he give you? What life lessons? What do you think? What do you implement now from that?
The two things my pops that I learned from my pops that he never really told me, but I just got from him was always hustle. Like always, literally, like there's always more that can be done. And if you can physically do it, then do it. You get what I'm saying? And the second thing is, it's better to be loved than to be talented. Ooh. Like my dad is a nigga that actually at his retirement party, I gave a speech at his party and I was telling everybody how my dad don't do shit at USC. He's worked at USC as a maintenance technician for like 30, 40 years and then he retired. And I was like, my dad don't do shit. Like we all the way out in Menifee, there's 60 people out there for his retirement party. I'm like, my dad don't do shit. If you go up to USC, my dad will drive around and talk to football players and talk to people. He don't fix shit. He don't do no work. He get other niggas to do the work for him. I'm being dead ass. Like he does all of that shit. I'm like, most of y'all in this backyard, like my dad would not go and do physical labor for you, but everybody loves him. Like y'all all drove 2 hours out to Menifee to celebrate this nigga's retirement. Like because my dad is a nigga that I always said before I started rapping, my dad was more popular than me and my brother. My dad is like the nigga, like all the way, everybody loves him. Like knock on wood, whenever he go, his funeral gonna be 500, 600 people. That's not an exaggeration. Like so, but he showed me that you can get through life by people just loving you and when it is something you're passionate in, work hard at it. You know what I mean? Like, and my pops taught me that, like, if people fuck with you, like, you can get through because people will just naturally look out for you. They'll naturally think about you. When all the shit happened and whatnot, like, my phone blew up from people that just genuinely fuck with me because I've always been a solid person. I've never been in no room and rubbed nobody the wrong way or said no weird shit or been behind somebody back and say something about them that I won't say in front of their face. Like, it's all about relationships. You know what I mean? It's all about people loving you. And so that's what my dad taught me was that, like, you can get through life literally. Being loved is more important than being talented or skilled at something. You get what I'm saying?
That's fire advice.
Yeah.
That's fire advice.
Yeah, no, I learned that from him for sure.
I'm out.
Gotta
Hey, I love you, brother. Keep going.
Always love you too, bro.
That album's fire. I know you're going for a phenomenal conversation, man. But for the folks, I'll catch y'all next time.
Take your non-alcoholic. Okay, so something else I wanted to talk to you about was you normally have family members on the project.
Yeah, yeah.
So like, and it's interwoven. It might be at the beginning. It might be whatever the case may
Still
be.
do. Yeah.
Right. What's the, because you talked about earlier where you said like I got to go to them and be like, yo, so you cool with this? What's the conversation like to have your family involved in the project? It's like, hey, I want you to say this, or tell that story about this, or like how does that usually come up?
It's a little bit of all of that. It's usually like it'll usually start with like, yo, I want you to say this. But say it this way in this tone or whatever. If they can pull up to the studio, they do. If not, they just send a voice note. The girl saying all the dates on the album, that's my sister.
Right.
She did the dates on New Beginnings, and then they, carried over into all of that. But yeah, it's usually those conversations like, yo, I want you to say this, I want you to say that. This is how I want my album to be. Like, I want it to be about this. And I always give them like the overall bearings of what the album is going to be about and the theme of it. That way they can, have it. And it's funny because they take that shit serious. Like, it ain't just like to them, it's showtime. Like they proud to hear their voice on there. They proud to be a part of it. And it's funny because that you say when you said I want you to tell this story, that was the original direction I wanted to go with Portraits, was having all the people that were involved in these stories tell the story. But I knew from where music is now, nobody wants to play an album that they got to keep stopping for the skits. Like, if you notice with my album, all the skits are interwoven into the record. That way, like, the music never stops. It goes all the way through.
Bro,
you know what I'm saying?
And the reason why I brought that up is because I know you're a family-oriented person. Even when I go to when I see you at events, like, you usually be with your homegirl, like your best friend. She wild.
Shout out to Sid, yeah.
She is, bro. There's nobody that goes harder for you.
That's my dog.
Bro, she will turn some shit upside down for you, bro.
For sure.
And she's like, I know who you are, DJ Head. I'm Rob's best friend. I'm like, okay. She's like, yeah, so what's happening? I'm like, what's up with you?
Yeah,
but anyway, I know you're very family-oriented. And has there ever been a point because we talked about it earlier, but has there ever been a point where something does come out and then somebody comes to you and like, you know what? Other than your boy, I'm talking about somebody in your family.
Yeah.
Somebody in your family saying like, damn, like I didn't like that, or whatever the case may be, because your shit is so personal.
Yeah, the only time was Better Days, and that was what kicked off that whole life lesson of that. Like, my cousin came to me, and what made me really understand it, if he would have came to me pissed off, cussing me out, wanting to fight, I wouldn't have got it. I wouldn't have understood it. But he came to me genuinely like disappointed. And
For real?
Yeah, and that shit like genuinely hurt and disappointed. Like, he like, bro, I can't even listen to the song. Like, that shit, like, I know I did that, but like, I just wish you would have called me, bro. Like, and that shit broke I was like, yo, like, I wanted to take the shit off of, but it's like, it's the lead single. The shit had 10 million streams at the time and climbing. Like, I'm like, fuck. Like, you know what I mean? And it just literally broke, you know what I mean? It broke my heart, which is why on New Beginnings, on the song Slow Down, on the second verse, I rap an apology. And I say that on the song, like, everything that I said on that record, like, I owe it to you to apologize to you, not only in our personal life, but for me to put it on a record also. That way, the same way that niggas heard me, you know what I mean, put your business out there, they can hear that. But that was one lesson that I didn't need to learn it again. So now I'm really big on, the more personal, the more times I ask. Like, if it's something light, I might ask once. You know what I mean? I kind of got to gauge on what people find light and heavy. If it's heavy, I might ask you 6-7 times before it even come out. You know what I mean? Just to make sure, like, yo, like, and then if it's the lead single, I'm like, yo, just to double back, we shooting a video. Like,
this is real.
This is real. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yo, anybody that listens to my music, they're going to be able to put two and two together. Are you sure? And then, sometimes the answer changes, sometimes it don't.
I was glad and surprised that you put family first.
Yeah,
that's what made me think about it, because of the title, and that's what made me think about the other question. But
and I don't know if you remember, but so you remember? Okay, got it.
That's where I'm going with it. I do remember family first, and just the last piece of something that I shared with Chuck, and when we was arguing about your situation, everything else I just told you. The last thing is what I said to them was, I think that you're afraid of success, and I'm like, and they were like, what you mean? I said, well, like, Reese has songs, like, he got records, not necessarily intentional commercial records, but he has songs tucked that I don't know if you're afraid to put them out. I don't know if you are timid about the fan base or whatever the case may be, but I had the same conversation with Soul. And well, first, let's talk about it. The Family First record, I like that song, obviously.
Love that record,
And I'm like, bro, women love Reason. Why don't he just fuck with him? Like, it's like, it be like, let's say Reason put out a project and it's 20 songs. 15 of the songs is, I'm dope.
Yeah.
Or personal. Personal, but I'm dope too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, let the women participate. They love you. And the same thing I was telling somebody else, I'm like, bro, I just feel like a lot of artists who, I'm gonna be totally honest with you.
Yeah.
I have arguments with B-Dot. I've had full on confrontations with people in the music music business. Elliot Wilson, everybody, whoever, right? And every time California comes up, I give them 5 names. Not gonna say them on the air.
Yeah.
But I give them 5 names. Your name is one of them.
Oh, that's dope. I appreciate that.
Every time.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, what do you see? Like, what's the potential? What's that? I'm like, well, they have the potential to be what everything else that everybody you compare them to. They have the potential to be the Shans and all of these things. There's no difference to me in Reason and Fabulous. There's no difference to me in Reason and Fabulous.
Yeah.
You can be Fabulous. The only difference is Fabulous was dope, but he also let the women participate in his music. And I always felt like that was something that artists who are dope lyricists and hip hop authors, that's something that they neglect. Do you feel like you neglect that when it comes to, do you think that you neglect the passive audiences from participating in your music?
I don't. I think that early on I did, and I had to learn that. I think halfway through making New Beginnings, I started to understand it. And then I made West Side. Yeah. And West Side was featuring Mariba. I wanted it to be featuring SZA because I felt like that was a joint that, like, with just talking numbers with Mariba, it's like at like 15 or 20 million streams or something like that. I was like, if I got SZA, it's one of those that's out of here. You know what I mean? On this one, I got Family First, I got FTN, I got You Better. Yep. I say that to say, like, I did do that, but now I'm at a point where I understand that if the women like it, the niggas is gonna play it. It's gonna go, like, it's automatic.
They put it in the car with that girl.
Exactly, it's automatic. It's gonna go. For me, I think it was just always, and I think that this is where, to me, this is where a lot of me and combos with Moore, whoever, would kind of get stagnant because it'll be like hot and cold. Like, a lot of people know that if you know the inner workings of TDE, it's a lot of like trying to figure out if this is the right play to make or not. That's why they're so strategic in that. It's like, do I want to make this play? Do I not want to make this play? And I was at a point where I was like, let's just make all the plays. Like, let's just put all of these joints out and see which one,
what people gravitate to,
but also give them the best punch. You get what I'm saying? Like, and so, and you know, it's a lot of different factors. Like when we did Family First, shout out to Kalen, that's my brother. But we also tried to pitch that also for Roddy. You know what I mean? Like, didn't happen for whatever reason. It don't got nothing to do with the label. I just think that I'm not at a point to where I can just automatically get the Roddy feature. You know what I mean? I don't have the relationship, or I didn't have a bag. So, but I say that to say, like, I'm all the way with, like, I got, you know how TDE fans are. They want you to just rap. They want you to struggle for your whole fucking career and be the backpack nigga that don't never, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't give a fuck about none of that. Like, I am 1000% open to trying everything and trying to make the records. That. And I did that a lot during this.
I know you did.
Yeah, I did that a lot during this process with the Caucasian Estates, with the You Betters, with the FTNs, with the Family First. You know what I mean? Like, I was pushing to try to, even with the At It Agains, you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people don't know At It Again, I made that before Soul's album came out. And so I knew it sounded like Win, but I'm like, we only got one win, I can sneak one through. Then Soul had Fuck Out My Face, and I'm like, fuck, now it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's a lot of things that are like just different, you know, things that happen. And, you know, sometimes it works out good and sometimes it works out bad, but I'm 1000% open to that. You know what I mean? Like, I want to do the joints with the Blast and the Beanos and I'm working on a project right now where it's just all LA niggas and it's just all the niggas that I'm fans of that people probably don't know I'm a fan of. You know what I mean? Like the Blue Bucks clans and the Beanos and even down to some more up and coming niggas that niggas don't really know that I listen to. I want to do a whole tape with that because I do want to have the records. It's not just about, and this is where me and Glass's conversation, like, we didn't see eye to eye on, because I don't believe it's just about having a record. It got to be everything. It got to be having the record, in my opinion. It got to be having the record, got to be delivering the record right, pushing the record the right way, having the right money behind it, getting out there to, like, it has to be everything. I don't think you can just drop a joint with nothing and it just go because it just go. Like, I don't believe in that.
Well, it's multiple.
Or it's small percentages, because I don't want to say I don't believe in that, because Blast did it. Blast showed that it's possible. You know
it's
what I mean?
nuance to it.
Yeah.
So it's timing. It's a bunch of things. Stars got to align,
Yep.
etc. But it starts with the music.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, fact, if the product is good, people want to be attached to good product. But it also is about consistency, because it's not just about. So I had the same conversation with G. It's not about one record.
Yeah.
It's about a consistent batch.
I agree.
Of here's one. Oh, you think I can do it? Here go another one. Oh, here go another one.
Exactly.
And then once people see, like, oh, you can produce this product, then that's when you get everybody to get on board, and that's when you start unlocking multiple levels of different things.
I agree.
The reason why I say that is because I feel like a lot of times you get boxed in with all the other stuff, like, oh, he's dope lyricist, he's this, that, and like, yeah, and so cool, that's dope. Same conversation I had with Simba, right?
Yeah.
About, like, bro, you can rap. We're in the record business.
Exactly.
Though. Like, okay, you can rap. Cool. That's amazing. That's cute. Can you make a song, though, that people are going to play over and over and over again for an extended period of time? I think you've done that.
Yeah.
Do you think that, what do you think outside of just making the song specifically is missing?
I think it's the consistency. Like, that's what I think it is.
Perfect.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I had great records on this album. I feel like I have records that, like, could have done bigger things, but I was gone for 3 years. Like, you know what I mean? Like New Beginnings did very, very well. Like, I was being talked about, I was on fire, everything. And then I've been gone for 3 years. And I genuinely feel like that's what it is. Like, we don't live in an era where you can just be gone like that and then just come out, and you got to do a lot to build up. Like, you look at a guy like Tizo Touchdown. Love everything Tizo is doing right now. He's building into his album because he doesn't have an album out.
Right.
So he couldn't drop the album and then do everything he's doing now. He had to do this stuff now, and then he's gonna go and drop the album. You gotta, like you said, you have to build into it. You can't just make the hot nigga from Bobby Smurda and not have no type of buzz and think that it's just gonna go crazy because you know what I mean? That's why you hear of all the times when there's a record that somebody might have made 5 years ago, and then that's their biggest record because maybe they started building, and then now people go back to it and they're like, oh damn, this was hard. You know what I mean? Like, we missed this. So I think that was the biggest thing for me, was the consistency, and that was the frustrating part for me.
But also, like, to the point, like, that's not the company that you with.
Yeah.
Like, they don't drop
Yeah.
like that. Like, they don't drop mixtapes. They don't drop. I remember having a conversation because I was talking to him about doing some stuff like oh, let's do a collab, like a DJ Head collab project or whatever. And I was like, hey, we don't drop free music. We don't do mixtapes, and it's a schedule. It's a machine. So it's like, do you think you should break the machine and do something different, or do you think that you, like, because you're talking about consistently and dropping consistent music to build that up,
and just being consistently outside, consistently dropping music, consistently doing shows, consistently just being around and doing shit. But yes, to your point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But to answer your question, I don't want to break the machine or think that I should break the machine. I look at my career in a solo standpoint, which is why I talk about that on gang shit. Like, I used to have this bitterness where I looked at it as like,
I gotta live up to this.
And we all a unit, and y'all niggas should be helping me. And I had to get out of my own way. Shout out to Soul. He helped me get out of my own way with my ego based off of that. He had a conversation with me, and he just basically like, nigga, it's you. You know what I mean? Like, we here if you need niggas to lean on, but like, this is all on you. So for me, I don't want to break a machine. I just want to do what works for me. I believe that every artist has a different, like we've talked about it, about the destination, and everybody has their own different route, and you don't know how to get there until you plug in your address. I think that if 10 different artists plugged in the same address, they're gonna get 10 different routes because everybody don't have the same route to get to where they're trying to go. So for me, I feel like, and I could be wrong, it's just my opinion, I feel like for Reason, the route has to be consistency.
So let's say you do try that,
yeah,
and it's still not the same, the results that you want. Then what?
Well, it depends on what we're talking about the results that I want.
Like, if you're saying for Reason's career, consistency is key. I just want to be able to drop multiple times a year.
Yeah.
To build my catalog and build my fan base and to do whatever, right?
Yep.
But let's say you do that, and then at the end of the day, you're still not satisfied with those results. Then what?
That's what I'm saying is okay. So if I wasn't satisfied with those results, then I would have to go back to the drawing board and build with other people that have higher knowledge than me and whatnot, and try to figure it out. But for what I want for my career, I don't think I wouldn't be satisfied with those results, only because I did not get into music to be Jay-Z or Kendrick Lamar. I got in music to, for me, I got into music to be known as one of the illest niggas that was doing this shit from where I'm from. Like, if you look at, that's why I'm so proud to say Carson. Like, if you look at the biggest artists to come out of Carson, and this is no offense to Razzcast, but if we talking about the biggest, it's Soul and it's Reason. I'm proud of that. You get what I'm saying? Like, I'm proud to be able to say it's Soul and it's Reason. Ray J, if you count Ray J. You get what I'm saying?
Ray
So
J is
yeah,
definitely
exactly.
the
So
biggest.
Ray J, exactly.
Ray
So Ray
J
J
is for sure
yeah, for
the
sure.
biggest.
Yeah, if you count Ray J, Ray J, Soul, Reason. You get what I'm saying? But I'm happy. I'm proud to be in that top 3 conversation. So I say that to say I did not get in this to be a mega star. I got in this to be regarded as one of the illest niggas doing it, and then everything else to me is like icing. So it's like, do I want a record? Yes, I want a record. I will bust my ass in the studio night in and night out to try to get a record. I'm not opposed to doing the things I got to do to try to get a record. But if I never got a record, I wouldn't feel like a failure.
Gotcha.
You get what I'm saying? Like, I feel like success for me in music is being able to tour consistently, give my fans great music, and for people to look back on my catalog and be like, wow, like I'm 2 in now. I'm New Beginnings and Porches, both dope albums. I want to be 7 in, 8 in, 9 in. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it'd be like, wow, this nigga has consistently put out quality music. And if I catch a record along the way, then I catch a record along the way. And if I don't, that's okay too, because I can make a lot of money without a record. It's a lot of niggas out there that make a lot of money without having a record. You get what I'm
Nah, I
saying?
get
Like,
that.
and so that's what I want to do. But I definitely want to catch one. Like, and I'm gonna do everything that I can. Like, I go and get the big production. I make the joints. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got a joint right now that's tucked away that I really want to blast on. It didn't happen, so I didn't put it on the album because I feel like
You gotta
it could
wait
go on
on
my next one, and it could be one of those. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And if I miss, then I'm gonna double back and swing again. It is what it is.
Do you? So I love that perspective. Other question I had, and we could wrap, but there's an exclamation point on all the songs.
Yeah, yeah.
What's that about?
So that was about the 2 records that's not an exclamation point is I want to say At It Again and You Better, if I'm right.
Yep.
That was about when you playing the playlist games, those was the 2 records that were like, okay, these will live well in playlists, but they still fit with the storyboard of the album. But if I didn't have to worry about playlists, I wouldn't have had those records on the album. And it's not because I don't like them. It's just because I feel as though sonically when I was listening to the album without those records, I felt like it flowed better without You Better and without At It Again. So I didn't put an exclamation on those. So it's really kind of like a OCD thing to myself. Like, this is what, like, I do weird shit like that. It is like an OCD thing to myself. Like, nigga, this is, if I didn't have to worry about playlisting and all that other stuff, this would be, you get what I'm saying, like what the album sounds like or whatever the case may be. Because I got so wrapped up into making this album that I was toying with the thought of not putting those on the album. But those are like the joints that are going to get the playlist. And so I'm like, fuck, I can't. It's like a weird OCD thing. I'm like, I can't put this shit out without niggas knowing that, like, I wouldn't have did this. You know what I'm saying? Like, which is stupid.
Oh my
But it's for
God,
me.
bro.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's hard to get out of my own way.
What is wrong with you?
Sometimes it's hard to get out of my own way.
Nobody's thinking about this shit.
Nobody. It's just me. But this the thing that I'm proud about is that at least I know that. Like, at least
Nobody would ever do that.
At least I know that. You get what I'm saying? So it's one of them things where it's like, I know I'm crazy.
I
for
want
this.
niggas to know.
Yeah.
Why do you? Okay, let's fuck all the music. Why? What are you trying to prove? What is Reason trying to prove to the world?
I'm not trying to prove nothing to the world. It's more about like myself. Like, I really feel like I'm like one of the best niggas like to do this shit. I just feel like I haven't done enough work to claim it. I can't stand on it because it's a bunch of niggas with way more success and that have done this shit at a high level for a long ass time. You get what I'm saying? Like, and that's not even just rapping. Like, when I say that, niggas automatically think I'm saying like I'm the best lyricist. Like, no, I've been saying that. I'm talking about like, I'm being real. I've been saying that, and I've been standing on that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I'm talking about like, I feel like I'm one of the best beat selectors. I feel like I'm one of the best niggas at growing and becoming better. I feel like I'm one of the best niggas at being honest with myself. Like I feel like I'm one of the best at literally going back and being thorough with myself. Like, nah, you didn't do that good enough. Like that's the areas that I compete in. It's not just lyricism. It's like, I feel like you niggas ain't honest enough with yourself. I'm better than you at that. I feel like you niggas ain't leaders. I'm better than you at that. I feel like you niggas ain't like you don't love your fans enough. I feel like I'm better than you at that. It's like that's what I'm always trying to prove. It's like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's like and
I like that perspective.
Yeah, when I do start my own label, like I'm gonna be competing in that area. Like I think that I pick better artists than you niggas. I think that I'm being dead. I think that I can build artists better than you niggas. I think I'm being like that's
What's
how
wrong with you?
That's how I compete,
Who did
bro.
it?
Like it's because of sports early in my life,
it's
bro.
Sports.
Like it's sports, bro. And I tell people that all the time. Like this grind to me is way easier than the sports grind because the sports grind is physical. Sooner or later, your body quits.
Yeah.
My mind don't gotta quit. Like so, it's just a mental grind in this shit. It's a keep your spirits high grind. It's a, you know what I mean? It's a resilient grind. Like that shit easier to me than sports because sports, it'd be days where I couldn't walk. You know what I'm saying?
I like that because I never thought about it from that perspective. It was like, no, I pick better artists than you.
Yeah,
I
like-
listen to better beat. Okay, so you're saying you're one of the best in all those categories.
I think I'm one of the best, or I'm striving to be one of the best. When you talk about what you're trying to prove, it's like some of those things I'm not the best at.
I know.
But, yeah,
so,
but I'm trying to be
what
one.
aren't you the best at out of those things?
Yeah, so I don't think I'm the best yet in A, consistency, but B, hook making. I'm not one of the best in
so
that.
who do you think is better than you at consistency and hook making?
Kalen,
Okay.
JID.
Do you want just a couple?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So, picking beats. Who's better at you than picking at? Who's better than you at picking beats?
I think this gonna sound crazy. I think the only two niggas to me is Drake and Dot. I genuinely believe
beats.
that. I
Okay.
genuinely believe that. Yeah.
Okay. So who's better?
And I want to be. I feel like if I had them niggas batch, hey, them niggas got
Send
a
me
different
the batch
batch.
that you sent
Give me
him.
the batch that the one with the Drake on the phone. Give me that batch. You know what I'm saying? Like, feel like I can. You know what I mean? I might be. Drake is tough because I that's my favorite artist in the industry when it comes to selecting production. I think Drake is fucking phenomenal. I think that is why he is who he is. You know what I'm saying? Like so, but like I think I'm top 3 in that boat. I do. Yeah.
Okay. So when it comes to consistency, picking beats, who's better at being honest with their fans than you?
I'm gonna keep it real, bro. I don't think nobody is.
Okay.
I don't think nobody is
As transparent
as transparent as me.
Okay.
Like
Okay. So the reason
for good reasons though. Like I'm not sitting here saying that everybody should be. You know what I'm saying? Like it done got me into some shit. You know what I mean? So I want to be on record for saying I'm not saying that it's the best thing in the world. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think nobody is as transparent with their fans as me is.
That's fire.
Yeah.
I love that because I think that the reason why I asked you that is because you like it's the honesty. It's you saying I'm not the best at this.
Yeah.
There's a couple niggas I'm chasing in this category, in that category.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's honest.
Yeah.
I like that. Shout out to Doechii
Shout out to Doechii.
having
Big
a
Doechii.
crazy run.
Crazy.
I feel like I want to see you do more collaborations like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It don't even have to be on a Reason project, but I strongly believe that women love Reason,
Yeah.
and I think when the further you tap into that, it don't even have to be people on Doechii's level, SZA's level.
Yeah,
it
yeah.
could be whoever.
No,
right?
I agree. Yeah.
I think if you further tap into that base, they're gonna embrace you.
Yeah,
One day you're gonna look up and you're gonna be on a Lizzo song. You're gonna be on a Lizzo record, and then it's over.
Yeah.
They're gonna love you because me being who I am, I realize people think I'm an asshole. I'm like, no, I'm just not telling you what you want to hear. I'm just telling you the truth.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact because I know women that have had an encounter with you, and they're like, no, he told me the truth. He told me what it was. He told me he didn't lie to me. He told me straight before anything. He was like, no, he told me this is what it is. I'm not doing this. I'm not.
That's real.
I feel like the women would the authentic women would appreciate that.
Yeah, and it's crazy that you say that because I'm actually like working on. So I'm gonna work on multiple projects at a time, but that is what I've noticed, and that's what I'm working. Like I'm working on dropping a tape on Valentine's Day where I go work with the Umis, the Baby Tates, the Doechis, the Aries, the Snows. Like I'm gonna like actively work on that and really, really push for that because that is an area of music that I always grew up loving. Like you bring up Fabulous. I love Fab, but Fab is in my top 10 rappers of all time. You get what I'm saying? I think that's why he's successful, is like you said, because he allows the women to participate. And I don't think, like when we talk about being top 3 and a lot of shit, I don't think I'm even top 10 at making bangers. I'm trying to get better at it. Yeah. But what I do think I can become top 3 or 5 at is making records for women. I do think that I can do that. You get what I'm saying? Like I might not be able to make the club banger, but I can make the one that ring off at midnight that all the women been waiting for to hear, you know what I'm saying, or the one that they use to put their makeup on and shit like that. So
I think you got a couple of them in you, like the make you betters and and the throw it in the bags and like because I feel like Fabulous is such a genius at crafting those records where he could get his bars off, but still on a record that they can fuck with. And I think that was just like I don't think Fab was getting enough credit, honestly, for what he was able to do. So that's why I bring him up.
I agree with that.
Do you have a favorite song? I know this, like all my babies and stuff like that. This is all my kids. Do you have a favorite record on the album?
Like you said, it is one of those where my favorites jump around. But the record I'm most proud of is Family First. That's the record that I'm most proud of.
Was it challenging?
It wasn't because it was challenging. It was because that was the record that it took the most collaboration to make, and I'm proud of that record because of the fact that like I sat back and allowed that collaboration. Even like when I played it for you, and you was like, this is before Certain was on it, and it had the Don't Cry, and you literally said that you was like, you should put. You know, so we was talking about like Ari or somebody, but you was like, put them like saying like Don't Cry. That's where I got that idea from, is our studio session. I'm being dead ass. Yeah, that's what I was referring to when I said, I don't know if you remember, but I got that idea from you when you was like, you should say Don't Cry or whatever. You don't notice I was recording and I got the voice memo still. You get what I'm saying? And so when I went in the studio with Zach and Sir, I was like, this is what I want you to sing on this part, and then sing the hook along with me. And then Zach just threw in the if you're my brother, then big game. You know what I'm saying? Because Zach is just a fucking genius with that shit. So, but I got that from that studio session. So after you said that, I had already knew I was gonna do that. I just didn't know who was gonna do it. You get what I'm saying? So I was trying to figure out who am I gonna get to do that. And then the record was called Family First. I was like, let me just keep it all family and in-house. And so I ended up getting Sir and Zach. And then I was like, Kaylin is literally family to me. We grew up around the corner from each other. So I was like, I'm going to go get Kaylin.
That's fire.
Yeah, it came together crazy.
That's fire.
Yeah.
That's dope. I love that. I like that you said that what's important to me, I mean, salute to me.
Yeah.
But that's fire.
Salute to me.
I didn't know that. You never told me.
It literally came from that.
But I think it's dope because you said just allowing the collaborative process because you're so, like what you just described about the playlisting and being a maniac with the songs and stuff like that.
I be in my own way.
I want niggas to know. It's like, no, just kick back and let the process happen.
Exactly.
What's the biggest lesson that Reason have learned in the last 2 or 3 years you've been gone? What's the biggest lesson that you've learned about yourself? And what's the biggest lesson you've learned about the music business?
Biggest lesson I learned about myself is probably honestly like get out of your own way. Like that's a lesson I'm still working on learning. And what I mean by that is mentally, I used to overthink everything, and I still overthink everything. I actually just tweeted that the other day. I was like, I hate overthinking. But now when I overthink, I literally every single time I have to practice it, I ask myself, what can you control? If the answer is nothing, then who gives a fuck? You know what I'm saying? And I go back to what Joe told me outside of a Revolt Summit. I was talking to Joe Budden after New Beginners came out, and I was like, man, like I've been off for like a year and a half, so I'm kind of nervous to drop. And he was smoking a cigarette. I'll never forget this, and it helped me so much. He's like, nigga, just drop that shit, and if everybody hate it and it sucked, then drop again, and then they'll forget the one that sucked. And I was like, damn, that shit is so simple. You know what I mean? But for an overthinker, that's super difficult to even comprehend, you know what I mean? So get out of my own way as far as the overthinking shit, and so I had to practice that. And then the biggest thing that I learned about the music industry is that, and it came from the soul shit, is that like it is still on you, you know what I mean? Like regardless of if you sign to this label or this artist or this person, whatever the case may be, it's still on you. And I think that I kind of lost that along the way with the waiting process of dropping an album. I stopped doing all the little things in between that I did to even get noticed to get signed in the first place. I stopped doing the freestyles. I stopped doing the content. I stopped doing the snippets of records, and
Why?
I stopped even going outside. Like that's a big part that people don't even understand about navigating in the music industry. Is like you got to go outside and be around people that way, because a lot of people, you'll be surprised how many people know you,
Facts.
but they never talk to you. But then when they see you, they like, yo, bro, like I know exactly, like you dope, bro, and then that builds a relationship. But it's just because they've known you from afar, and who the fuck just reaches out to, you know what I mean? Everybody don't do that. Just see a nigga that's dope and be like, oh, I'm gonna reach out to him. You know what I mean? But to answer your question, why? I just got discouraged. Like, to be honest,
What did you get discouraged by not putting out music?
by not putting out music. Like it put me in a dark place. Like, bro, like I made this album, even though this album doesn't sound hella dark, like there are certain spots, but I made this album in a dark place. Like I never was a person that thought, I used to feel like when people said that they were going through like depression and anxiety and suicidal thoughts and shit, I used to think that those people was weak-minded.
Me too.
And then I went through it and I was like, nah, like this shit is actually a real thing. Like I was depressed for a long time because I just wanted to put out music. I just wanted to have a show. I just wanted to I've never had a headlining LA show. You get what I'm saying? Like, so when I'm seeing other people, even artists that are smaller than me, do these things, which I know you're not supposed to look at other people and focus on your own path, but it would make me feel like, damn, like why am I just so stagnant? Why am I just here? Why am I just, you know what I mean? And but what I had to realize is that even that is on me, because I gotta still, even while I'm feeling that way, I still gotta like work and put in the work and put out the content and put out the personality out there and still support people and pull up to their listening parties. And I still got to do all those things. And I let the discouragement stop me from doing that. That's why when I came in and you like, nigga, you've been everywhere. I'm like, yeah, I'm back in that space and on that mode. You know what I mean? Because I understand what it takes. I just stopped doing it because I was like, man, I don't want to go to that listening party. Like, I ain't dropped no music in a year and a half, and it's going to be a bunch of niggas there that they're doing shit that I want to do, and it's going to make me feel even, I'm just going to stay in the crib. And that was how I started approaching all of that shit.
Damn.
You know what I mean? And I had to get out of my own way with that.
What brought you out of it?
Honestly, like the 6 months leading up to the album, the process of building the creative got me back energized about it. Like the process of coming up with Porches and what Porches means and doing the skits and leaving little tidbits like, oh, the intro is faded off of Poor and Riches. If you take the O out of Poor, I out of Riches, it spells Porches. And just doing all the little things that I knew fans would appreciate, that got me back energized. And then once I started dropping the singles and seeing fans fuck with me, that got me back energized. Even the shit that happened between me and Moo got me back energized. Like just being outside more and more active got me back into it. It's almost like going to the gym. It's like you'll be discouraged and just sitting at home, but then the moment you work out for a week and you mentally start to see abs when you really ain't no abs there, but because you only done worked out for a week, but it gets you that motivation. You get what I'm saying? And that was kind of what it was for me and what it took. And now I'm all the way back, like foot all the way on the gas. Like,
Foot
you
on
know
the
what I mean?
gas.
Yeah, foot on the gas.
I like that. Listen, bro. I mean, we haven't talked, and
Yeah.
I just appreciate the transparency. I appreciate the project. I appreciate one thing. And this is something else I was telling when everything was going down. I was telling because everybody's calling my phone. I'm like,
Yeah.
I said, number one, Reason is hyper intelligent. Number two, he knows exactly what he's doing. He's not out of control. He's not belligerent. He's very strategic. Not strategic, but he's very methodical about the way he chooses his words. It's very carefully, etc. I said, so I'm not worried about him like that. I said, but the thing is, the one thing that I will say about him is he's completely self-aware, and the things that he's not, he knows he's not.
Yeah.
And ironically, I was talking to I forgot who I was talking to. I wish I can give him credit, but the nigga told me some wild shit. He said, "You know what make LeBron James great?" And I'm like, "What?" He said, "LeBron James is great because he knows what he's not great at." And I was like, and I had to sit and think. I had to sit with that for us. I'm like, because he'll put pieces in position
to cover what he's not great at. 1,000%. Yeah.
And I feel like you got the same thing.
Yeah. I literally approach everything that way. Like I know I'm not the greatest at visual creativity. I don't come up with nothing visually creative. I let like the camera people I fuck with and the creative directors I fuck with, I let them come in. What I am good at is tying in the loose ends. So I'll come in after they have the idea and be like, yo, we should do A, B, C, D, and E to, you know, make it fit. But I'll never start off a video treatment on my own because I know I suck at that. I'm not good. I'll never start off a cover art on my own because I'm being dead. I don't know what, like, every time a nigga tell me to think about a cover art, I'd be like, fuck it, the black cover. Like, I don't fucking know. Like, man, like, I don't know. You get what I'm saying?
Black
like,
cover.
Like, or I just copy some shit that I like. Like, I'll copy Good Kid, Mad City cover and do like a poor man's version of that. And so I just let other people do it, and then I come in and be like even with the back cover with the kid, Mark and said like that was Miko. Shout out to Miko. Yeah. I was the one that came in and was like, which we ended up changing it, but I at first told them to like blur his face out because it looked kind of hard. So blur the kid's face out and the woman's face out. Now we ended up going with the version. I want to say we went with the version that was unblurred, but it was little things like that. Or I said instead of putting the track, we was gonna put the track list at the bottom. I said put it on the wall as the height. Like that's the little things that I add. But I would have never came up with that. You get what I'm saying? Because I would have never even got to the kid standing measuring himself height wise on the wall. I would have never even got there.
Once somebody put it there,
the seed, then I can kind of blossom it. So I am big on that. Like shit that I'm not good at. Like I always tell, or like to me, the most arrogant thing for artists to do is the artist that be like, nigga, I produce my own beats. And I'm like, nigga, you shouldn't. Like, I've always said that. Like, I feel like with Cole, like, I feel like Cole's, some of his best records are records he produced, but I feel like a lot of, like, since he been rocking with T-Minus, he been whooping shit. You know what I mean? Like, and you got to delegate. You know what I mean? You got to get out of your own way and allow other people to succeed in the areas that they succeed in.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
Features, is he open for features? Is he doing collabs with people?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm 1,000% open, but I'm only open to the music first. I'm not the artist that'll do a feature because it's a bag. Like it'll have to be a big bag for me to be like, I hate this song, but I'll do it anyway. Because for me, like I talked about earlier, like I gotta live with that shit. I hate living with shit I don't like, bro. I hate it. That's
bro,
why that's what
you
the
got the most stipulations.
I hate it. So it's funny when artists always reach out to me. They're like, "How do I get a reason feature?" I'm like, "Send a dope song. We can talk about the money after you send a good song. If it's a song I like, then we can talk about the money.
Send a dope song.
Send a dope song. If I love the song, I'll do it for free. Being dead ass. I've done features like that where I was gonna charge somebody, and then I love the song so much that I did it for free. So it start off with the music first.
Okay. So shout out to Ruben Vincent.
Yeah, shout out my dog.
You fuck with Ruben Vincent. Yeah. Rhapsody, you fuck with Rhapsody.
My dog.
Is there anything in the works from the because you know stranger to the
Jamla, yeah.
To Jamla. Is there anything in the works with that?
Me and Ninth are talking about doing an EP.
I heard about that.
Yeah, we talking about doing an EP. Yeah, I'm kind of planning on going out there soon and just locking in. We can knock it out. Like, bro, we did like 13 joints. I was out there for like 3 days. We did like 13 joints.
You did 13 songs
in 3 days.
So you already have the EP,
but I don't love it. So we would have to do some more. Another 20. I don't love all 13. You know what I'm saying?
Another 20.
That's how I am, bro. I don't like. I saw an interview
to do an EP. It's like 8 songs.
You know, it got to be the best.
You do 30 songs to do 8 songs?
Yes, like okay. it got to be the best. Like I saw an interview where Blast was talking about like with Bino, like they was like, oh, I know y'all probably got a bunch of stuff. They was like, nah, these are the only songs we made. Like big ups to them. I can't do that. I have anxiety doing that. Like we gonna run with this. The first 8 we spit out is all we got.
So could you go in the studio? Let's say you go in the studio with Ninth or Hit Boy, whoever, right?
Yeah.
And you're gonna do a collaborative project, and it's like we're gonna make 8 songs.
Yeah.
And we're gonna use these 8 songs. Do you approach the process different?
Yeah, I would be. So if that was the stipulations, like let's say I went in the studio with Hit Boy and he was like, we're only doing 8. Which I know from people have told me that's kind of how Hit Boy does approach that shit.
400%.
I would probably drive Hit Boy crazy because I would be so particular about the beats that I pick. Because then I would be like, it got to be right. So I got to pick the beat that I absolutely. It can't be a beat I kind of like. So I'm like, let me try to write. Like, nah, I'd have to love 1,000% every single beat, and then they'd probably get tired of me and not want to fuck with me anymore. So he'd probably be over it and be like, I ain't fucking with this nigga. He'd be like, I done played 60 beats and this nigga picked 4.
This fool
you know what I'm
is
saying?
crazy, bro.
Yeah, he'd probably end up doing that. But
so you and Ninth, is that gonna come out, or is that something that you got?
It's something that I want to do for sure. Like I'm definitely going to do it. I know that. Like I'm definitely going to do it. Is it going to come out? That just all depends on what makes sense at the time. You get what I'm saying? But I'm 1,000% going to actually do it because not only have I been a huge fan of Ninth my entire life, but Ninth has also grown to be like a close like friend, mentor. Like he's just a super, super genuine person. That's really my dog. And everything that he's done in the entire process was genuine. Like Knife ain't charged me for that. Like it was just like, yo, do the splits, put it out. Like I'm not tripping, you know what I'm saying? And all the love that he showed as far as promoting it, you know what I'm saying? Like he was 1000%. He was on my line like, nigga, we need to get this out. Like I did that record like a year ago, you know what I'm saying? He was on my line like, nigga, this one, we got to get out. And I kept telling him like, yo, I got plans for that record because he was about to make his own project and put it out. Yeah, and I was like, nah, that's the Soul Part 3. Like I do these soul records. That's the one. So yeah, so even him just being patient with me on that, I appreciate.
Shout out to Ninth Wonder and shout out to the Soul Part 3. Yeah. Bro, listen, that I don't have any more questions per se, but just from watching you and since the beginning, like you've always been very articulate and very intentional with how you do things and why you do things. But something is different with you. Like when it comes to this project, something's definitely different. Like the growth, the way the growth that you're going through, and the self-awareness, putting it out there the way you doing it. That's something that's only gonna elevate you and make you, and it's gonna force your hand to become the person to become the artist that you're supposed to be. So I just think that's dope.
Thank you, bro. I think that's kind of been my superpower the last 6 months to a year is self-awareness. I think that I've always prided myself on it, but I feel like I'm more self-aware now than I've ever been, and I feel like a lot of that shit come from therapy.
You in therapy?
Yeah, I'm in therapy. It come from my relationship. It come from my relationships with the homies. Like, I'm just very, very self-aware. Even when I'm on bullshit, I'm very self-aware that I'm on bullshit. And it also, what it does is it allows, my therapist told me this, he was like, the more self-aware you are, it allows people around you to be even more honest with you because they feel like they can tell you shit because you are already self-aware in yourself. So now it allows them to be able to tell you whatever they might have had reservations about telling you, they can tell you because you're self-aware in your own space. And I feel like that's what's been my superpower, and it's helped me in so many spaces, including the music. Like I've been picking the best production. Like I had to be self-aware that nobody came here for you, Otis. Like it ain't about your raps. Like, you know what I'm saying? It ain't about you, nigga. It starts with the production. Like the producer is the most important part in the music making process. I don't give a fuck what you gotta say. It's about that. And even through that process, like I picked, like in the last 6 months, I picked like 5 beats that Drake ended up taking.
Damn.
And other people would feel a way about that. I'm like, that let me know I'm on the right. Like I'm picking. I just got a text like 4 days ago, like, yo, it's, you know, that song that you did or whatever. Like, bro, we got to build another beat around that because I think it's gonna be on Drake album. And he felt bad. My dog felt bad about it. And I was like,
don't feel bad.
I was like, don't feel bad. Like that just mean I'm on the right.
We on the hell yeah.
I'm on the right path, bro.
I'm in the same folder he.
And on top of that, that's my homie. So I'm like, nigga, shout out to you. Like that's another placement because he got a couple with Drake. Like that's another placement that you got with Drake. Like nigga, I'm happy for you as a person, as a friend. How can I call myself a friend if I'm mad that Drake took a beat and my dog just got a placement? Like that don't even, you know what I mean, make no sense. So the self-awareness has helped me. Like it's helped me in that journey a lot.
That's fire. Congratulations. What made you start going to therapy?
My relationship, like I was going through a bunch of shit with my girl before we had broke up for a long period of time, and that was like our last heave of trying to fix shit. And then through doing that, I started going to solo therapy because I was like, while I'm doing the shit with therapy, I'm like, it's shit I can't even talk about in front of her. That I gotta So and then I started going to, you know what I mean, solo therapy, and started realizing that, you know, like I have addictions in certain places and shit like that, and demons I gotta, you know, unpack. And so I did that shit for a long time. And then I even talking about growth, I outgrew my therapist. I just got a new therapist.
Damn.
Because I felt like that therapist wasn't holding me accountable enough. And I was like, I'm not going to this nigga no more. I feel like you wasting my money now because I tell you about an issue I got, you hear me, and then I come back to that session and told you I did it again, and you don't even fucking like tell me I'm wrong for doing it again. Like you're not holding me accountable enough in my own life. Like I'm telling you I did this and I fucked up on this, and I come back and tell you I did it, and you not talking to me about ways to prevent it or nothing like that. You just like, you know, like, oh, and how did that make you feel? Like, nigga, fuck how it made me. I know how it made me feel. Like tell me, like help me and speak to me through the process of getting better. So I was like, nah. So I went and got a black woman. I feel like black women hold people accountable better than anybody on this earth. That's why we say women are nagging, because they are the creatures of holding you accountable.
That's
so
fire.
I went and got a black woman. Yeah.
Bro, that's it right there, man. Oh, if you're interested in going to therapy, I started it too. You can hit we have a promotion running right now. Shout out to our folks at BetterHelp. Go to betterhelp.com/HGR10 and get 10% off if you're interested in therapy. But I think that's so dope.
Yeah.
That's super dope.
Yeah, no, it's life changing.
Man, Reason Porches is out now.
Yes, Porches is out. Keep streaming. Keep living
streaming.
with it. Yep, you're gonna keep finding little things that you didn't hear before and whatnot. Like I'm proud of that. It's a full body of work. It's not a playlist album. So yeah, and if you fuck with me, I appreciate it.
Man, we appreciate you, bro.
Yeah.
It's Homegrown Radio. Chuck Dizzle, DJ Head, and we see you next time.
Love.